All right, thank you guys. Welcome to the program here today. And this is our college basketball video here for Tuesday, January 4th, 2021. Now, if you're new here, I just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my channel. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And if you end up liking what you see here today, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button as well and join the Brock Page family. I'd love to connect with you on a daily basis. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content here. We're going to start with the Florida State Seminoles taking on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. And that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. In some ACC conference action. Now, Wake Forest is -1 at home here with the total at 145.5. And despite another pretty bad day on my website at brockpage.com yesterday, we're still 8-4 in our last 12 $1.99 daily best plays on that very same webpage. And if you want to access today's $1.99 daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. And the link for that pick is in the description section below. And once again, if you want to know what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website, well, what I do here on YouTube, you guys already realize, you guys already know, I'm providing an opinion on every single game that's on the slate, predicting the side and total. And what I do differently on my website is, well, I share with you which games I'm actually betting on personally. Those are games that I actually have my own personal action on. Believe it or not, I don't bet every single game. So if you want to access every single pick that I give out on my website, well, you're certainly going to want to sign up for my board member tier package, where we are also 4-2 in our last 6 plays in that particular membership. But when it comes to this ACC matchup here this evening, it's Wake Forest who appears to have the upper hand. The Deacs are currently undefeated at home this year, and they also went 6-2 against the number in those 8 home games. So certainly doing well at home, covering in 75% of their home games. And of course, when you mention this team, you gotta mention Alondes Williams, who's scoring over 20 points a game, along with 6 boards and 5 assists. Meanwhile, Jake LaRavia's making nearly 40% of his three-pointers himself, along with 14.5 points a game. And speaking of scoring, the Deacs are averaging nearly 82 points a game on their home court. And they're also in the top 25 in shooting from the field. So certainly some good things going here for Wake Forest. If you're backing them in this spot here, you should feel pretty good about those trends there. Now, they're taking on a Florida State program who's really struggled to cover the number here recently. Florida State went just 1-5 against the spread in their last 6, and they also went just 30% against the number in their last 10. Now, the Noles are officially 0-3 straight up as the official road team, and when it comes to the total in this one, the Noles' last 2 straight got over the posted number. They also went 5-2 to the over in their last 7. Meanwhile, Wake Forest, on the other side of things, they went 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Wake Forest -1.5 and the over 145 and a hook. Next ball game, it is going to be... That's good. That's some chamomile tea right there. Anyway, next ball game, Illinois versus Minnesota. We're going to go into the Big Ten here. And that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Illinois is -7, totals 140. And although the Illini is on the road here tonight, we're looking at a team who's been lights out shooting from beyond the arc. As a matter of fact, Illinois is in the top 15 in the country in shooting the 3-ball, as they're drilling 40% of their shots from downtown. Alfonso Plummer is drilling 45% of his 3 balls. And he's also averaging over 17 points a game. And of course, speaking of scoring, you got to mention Big Kofi Coburn, who's averaging over 21.5 points a night, along with a dozen boards. This guy has been dominant for some time now. and definitely somebody you're probably going to be seeing in the NBA here within the near future. Now, referring to rebounds here, Illinois has been dominant underneath the basket as they're currently in the top 10 in the country in offensive rebounding. They're taking on a Minnesota team who, despite their really good record, they find themselves as one of the worst rebounding teams in the Big Ten. Now, the Gophers have, excuse me, the Gophers have also struggled to cover the number here recently as they failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7. When it comes to the total in this one, Minnesota saw 4 out of their last 5 ball games get over the line, 70% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, Illinois saw their last 8 straight all get over the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward Illinois -7 and the over 140. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Kentucky versus LSU, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. The LSU Tigers are -2.5 with the total at 144. And speaking of the total in this one, LSU saw games recently with Auburn, Georgia Tech, and Wake Forest fall under the posted number. As a matter of fact, the Tigers are currently 7-2 to the under in front of their home fans. Now they're 11-2 to the under in their last 13 at any location. Meanwhile, Kentucky, on the other side of things, they saw 5 out of their last 8 ball games fall under the posted total themselves, and those were unders against the likes of Mizzou and Notre Dame during that stretch. And of course, when it comes to selecting a winner in this one, this game's actually being featured as my college basketball tier package pick on my website at brockpage.com. So if you want to see whether I'm leaning toward Kentucky catching the points on the road, or if I like LSU laying the bucket at home, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my college basketball tier package pick on brockpage.com. And the link for that pick will be located in the description section below. But as far as a free pick goes for this ball game, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the under 144 in that contest. Next ball game I have for you, back into the Big Ten. I'm talking about Michigan versus Rutgers, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. The Michigan Wolverines are -4, totals 132.5. Now, Michigan has successfully covered the number in 3 out of their last 5 ball games, with successful covers against the likes of Nebraska and San Diego State during that span. Now, Michigan is also scoring 75 points a game away from home, and they're drilling almost 40% of their their three balls in that same category. So certainly doing a good job offensively when traveling. Devontae Jones, he's draining 46% of his three-pointers, 4 boards, 4 assists a game for Devontae. Meanwhile, Big Hunter Dickinson, he's averaging over 15 points a game himself, along with 9 boards. Now, Michigan is taking on a Rutgers team who failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10 ball games, and they're shooting just 29% from beyond the arc at home. As a matter of fact, the Scarlet Knights have had significant problems offensively this season. They're averaging only 68 points a game at JVILLE Arena. Yes, that is correct. They play in a building called JVILLE Arena. Now, total-wise, Rutgers saw games with Central Connecticut, Purdue, and Lafayette fall under the posted number. Meanwhile, Michigan went 60% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Michigan -4 and the under 132.5. Next ball game, it is going to be in the Big 12. I'm talking about Texas versus Kansas State, and that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Texas Longhorns are -8.5 with the number at 122. But despite being favored in this one, Texas has really struggled against the point spread here recently. As a matter of fact, the Longhorns failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8 ball games, with failures to cover coming against the likes of Alabama State, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and Sam Houston State. The Longhorns have also struggled offensively away from home this season. Just 64 points per contest they averaged away from their home court, and 26% shooting from 3 land in that very same category. They're taking on a Kansas State program who won 6 of 7 at home this year, and they're allowing only 59 points per contest in front of their home fans. Now, scoring-wise, Nigel Pack is averaging over 15 points a night, along with 3 boards, couple assists. Pack is also draining over 42% of his three-pointers. He's shooting very well from beyond the arc. Meanwhile, Mark Smith, he's making... Come on now, let's get it. Come on, spit it out. Mark Smith, great guy. Love him. Good student, really good guy. And what he also does is he makes 42% of his shots from downtown himself. That's Mark Smith, folks. He's averaging double-digit points a game. Now, come on, dude. Power through that. Spit it out. Now, one more thing to add defensively for the Wildcats. These guys are currently ranking in the top 10 in the country in defensive three-point percentage, guarding the three ball quite well. Total-wise, 5 out of K-State's last 7 home games fell under the posted number. Meanwhile, the Longhorns went 9-4 to the under in their last 13 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Kansas State plus 8.5 in the under 122. I swear it's just tea. It's not any of that funny stuff. Anyway, next ball game. Back into the Big East. I'm talking about Seton Hall versus Butler. 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Seton Hall is minus 3.5. Total's 131. But despite being favored on the road here, Seton Hall finds themselves on a 2-game losing streak, with both of those losses coming in conference. The Pirates also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 9 outings, and they have a handful of guys who may be sitting this one out due to COVID. Now, they're playing a Butler team who plays some of the best defense in the entire Big East. The Bulldogs are allowing only 59 points per contest, and they rank in the top 25 in the country in that particular category. And they're also limiting their opponents to just 30% shooting from beyond the arc. Now, scoring-wise, Chuck Harris is averaging just about a dozen points a game, along with 3 boards, couple assists. Meanwhile, Jaden Taylor is averaging 10.5 points a game himself, along with a couple of rebounds. Now, the Bulldogs have gotten the W in 6 out of 7 home games. They've been very good on their home court. And when it comes to the total in this one, Butler went 6-0 to the under in their last 6 at home. The Bulldogs are also 9-2 to the under in their last 11 at any location. Meanwhile, Seton Hall on the other side of things, they saw unders with Providence, Cal, and Michigan themselves. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward Butler plus 3.5 and the under 131. Next matchup, more conference action here. Kansas versus Oklahoma State, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Kansas Jayhawks are minus 6.5, totals 144. Kansas is on a 7-game winning streak, and they find themselves averaging nearly 86 points per contest. And when it comes to offense, the Jayhawks are in the top 3 in the entire country in shooting from the field. Oshai Agbaji is averaging over 20.5 points a night, along with 4 boards and 46% shooting from 3-land. Meanwhile, Remy Martin is drilling nearly 42% of his 3 balls himself. Double-digit points a game for Remy as well. Meanwhile, defensively, the Jayhawks have been dominating under the basket as they currently find themselves in the top 15 in the country in defensive rebounding. Now they're taking on an Oklahoma State team who failed to cover in their last 5 straight themselves, and they've been very little threat shooting from 3-land. As a matter of fact, the Cowboys are making only 28% of their 3-pointers this season. Oklahoma State also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7 home games. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Oklahoma State's last 8 outings got over the posted number. Meanwhile, Kansas went 80% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Kansas minus 6.5 in the over 144. Next ball game, it is going to be Providence versus Marquette. 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Marquette's minus 1.5, numbers 139. But despite being favored in this one, the Marquette Golden Eagles are on a 4-game losing streak. They've really struggled getting the W here recently, not playing great basketball. And they also went just 3-6 against the number in their last 9, so struggling against the point spread as well. Now, when it comes to shooting the 3 ball, Marquette's making just 27% of their shots from downtown at home. They're taking on a very good Providence team who's on a 9-game winning streak, and they suffered just 1 loss this season. Once again, this is a very good Providence team, a lot of wins, getting the job done. And although I wouldn't describe the Friars as an offensive juggernaut, they are drilling nearly 41% of their three-pointers on the road. Now, Noah Horschler, he's draining 46% of his 3 balls. He's averaging 10.5 points a game. Meanwhile, teammate Nate Watson is dropping over 13.5 points a game himself, along with 5 rebounds. Now, when it comes to the defensive play of the Friars here, well, Providence is allowing only 54 points a game when traveling. These guys have really tightened up the clamps away from their home court. Now, total-wise, the Friars' last 6 straight outings all fell under the posted number. Meanwhile, Marquette, on the other side of things, they went 6-3 to the under in their last 9. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Providence plus 1.5 and the under 139. All right, next ball game. Once again, more conference action. Good slate of games here tonight, by the way. A lot of conference games and a lot of really small point spreads. So should be some good action here tonight. Very entertaining. But our next matchup is Virginia versus Clemson, 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Clemson's -3, numbers 122. Now the Tigers are currently on a 4-game winning streak, and they actually pounded the Cavaliers by 17 points in their most recent ball game. The Tigers have also been very good against the number here recently, as they successfully covered in 7 out of their last 10. Now, P.J. Hall, he's scoring over 14 points a game along with 6 boards. Meanwhile, Alamir Dawes is making 41% of his three-pointers and averages nearly a dozen a game himself. And speaking of three-pointers, Clemson's making nearly 43% of their 3 balls at the Little John Coliseum. And they also went 5-1 against the spread in those home games. They're taking on a Virginia program who continues to fail offensively. Virginia scoring only 57 points a game away from home. And they're also making just 27% of their three-pointers in that same category. Now, the Cavaliers failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7 outings, with failures to cover coming against the likes of James Madison and Lehigh during that stretch. When it comes to the total in this one, Virginia actually did go 4-2 to the over in their last 6 games. Meanwhile, Clemson saw 6 out of their last 9 get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Clemson -3 and the over 122. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are currently 8-4 in our last dozen $1.99 daily best plays. I like Wake Forest -1.5 over 145 and a hook. Illinois -7 over 140. I like the under 144 in the Kentucky-LSU matchup. Give me Michigan -4 under 132.5. I like Kansas State +8.5 under 122. I also like Butler +3.5 under 131. Give me the Kansas Jayhawks -6.5 over 144. Providence +1.5 under 139. And as far as all the other games go across the country here this evening, I like Auburn -9 over 145.5. Baylor -12 under 139 and a hook. Georgia Tech +19 under 141.5. Akron -2 over 132. Give me Army +2.5 under 148. Jacksonville State -8 under 132.5. Boston University +4 under 126 and a hook. Eastern Kentucky -16 over 162.5. Give me Colgate -9 over 141. Western Michigan +3 under 135.5. Loyola Maryland -10.5 over 133. The Kent State Golden Flashes -2 over 143.5. Liberty Flames -7 under 129. NC State Wolfpack +9 over 137.5. Texas A&M -6 over 142. Central Michigan, the Chippewas +13 under 148.5. Lipscomb -6.5 over 144. Arkansas -7.5 under 145. Give me Air Force +20 over 132. Memphis -13.5 over 142. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, just another quick reminder that if you want to access every single pick that I give out on my BrockPage.com website, you're going to want to sign up for my board member tier, where board members get access to every single pick that I give out on my webpage all the way through the end of January. I'm going to lean toward Cal State Fullerton -7 and the over 144. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on BrockPage.com. If you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on my website, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of January. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at BrockPage.com.